guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about all the books that TikTok and BookTok and BookTube and all the social media sites made me buy. Before we get into this, I do want to say that yes, I bought all of these books with great intentions of reading all of these books, but the majority of them I have not read yet. So it's fine. It's fine, right? It's fine. We are going to start with the books that I have not read yet. The first little series we have is the Twisted series. And yes, we bought Twisted Love. We did not read Twisted Love, but we promptly decided to buy the rest of the series because they all match and they all look pretty and I love it. So this series, I honestly still don't really know what it's about. It's 4 different couples, I believe, and it's interconnected, but I've heard really good things about all 4 of them, but really, really good things about the last 2. And I am very excited to get into these. I do want to start them soon. They are high on my TBR list. So if we don't pick it from the mug, we'll probably start these here in April, May. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that because I'm not making any promises. But we will start these soon. So that's the first series. Then we have the Inheritance Games. Sorry, my voice is still not okay. Teaching is rough. And I have the first one and then I have the second one. I'm waiting for the third one to come out in paperback because I don't want paperback, hardback. That just looks weird. So this was a young adult fantasy. I think there's a little romance in there, but it's a trilogy. I've also heard really good things about this one. Again, we're back to the whole, I buy the first one. I don't read the first one, yet I go and I buy the rest of the series. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then another series we have is the Shatter Me series. And I will say, before we get into the fact that we bought 9 books in hardcover, Isaac has read all 9 of these books. So some of these books did get read. Now, was it by me? No. Am I going to read them? Yes. But it was not a waste of money, a frivolous purchase, because he read all of these and he actually very much enjoyed all of these books. So he is like begging me to read them. So they are, again, high up on my TBR. But I keep telling him I will read these if he reads Harry Potter, because he's never read Harry Potter. And they're the best books in all of creation and he needs to read them. Tell him that in the comments. Tell him to read the Harry Potter books, okay? So we have these.
Sorry.
And he's back again. I think he heard me talking about him.
Did you tell him about how I finished the whole series?
Yes.
Well, 11
And I said how it was not a frivolous purchase because you read these books.
Yes.
Okay, now we have a book that I have started. And that book is ACOTAR. Okay, I have seen this literally all over TikTok and BookTok and YouTube and BookTube, and like all of the BookTube people that I watch have read this book, and I need to read it because I don't want to be left out. I have started it. I am on chapter 3, page 28, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I mean, granted, I'm only on page 28. A lot can happen in the next 300 or so pages, plus another 4 books are all over there in the little box set that Isaac got me. I am excited. I am branching out. Usually I am a romance reader. We all know that. But I decided this year that I'm going to branch out and I am going to read new things. I guess we're doing fantasy. I think this was originally written young adult, so it is easier to read, which is nice in a fantasy book, especially when I'm not used to fantasy. I mean, honestly, the only fantasy I've read is Harry Potter, and I read those 10, 11, 12, 13, 50 hundreds of times. So I know the story forwards and backwards. You didn't ask me anything. I got this. I got this. So anyway, ACOTAR, I'm reading it. I like it. Yay. Those were all our series that TikTok made me buy. Now we are going to move on to the standalone books that TikTok made me buy. This is not all of them. This is just the more popular ones. Remember how I just said that we were branching out. We were differentiating our reading habits we are also reading thrillers. And I've come to find out I actually like thrillers. I've read 2, 3-ish so far, and I've enjoyed all 3 of them. So I bought Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and I've heard fantastic things about this book. I am very excited to read this book. I've been trying to read a thriller each month, to try and, so at least I have 12 read before the end of the year. This might be my March thriller, because I've been excited to read this. I've heard really, really good things about this. I've heard that you can't predict it, and the twists are great. And I want to read it. You ever have those covers where like the front is just a smidge shorter than the rest of the book, and you're reading it and it's all bumpy? Yeah, I don't like that, but it's fine. It's fine. Then we have Magnolia Parks. Now this book is part of a series, but you'll be proud of me. I only bought the first book. I don't have the rest of the series because this is one of the ones I'm not sure about. The other series I bought, I'm sure about. I know. I have this very strong gut feeling I'm going to like them. This one, I'm not sure about. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. There's one booktuber I like who loves this book. There's one booktuber I like who hates this book. So I don't know about this book. I thought we'd try it. If we like it, we can read the rest. If we don't like it, then we can sell it. I've heard it's very Gossip Girl-esque, very high society romance. So we'll see how I feel about this. Another book is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And this book, it's a woman in STEM novel. I've heard it is Grumpy Sunshine, which is one of my favorite tropes. I'm excited to read this. I did buy Love on the Brain as well when I bought this one, so we'll see. I've heard if you like Christina Lauren and Emily Henry, then you would like this author. And I love both of them, so I have high hopes for this. High hopes for these books. And then the last one that XESQDVY by that I have not read yet is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This went viral last year. It is summer romance. They go to a lake house. It is then now perspective. It is enemies to lovers. All of my favorite things in a book. And I'm so excited to read this, but I will probably wait until the actual summertime to read this to put me in the mood. I cannot wait to read this book, and I'm so excited. Now, we are moving on to books by authors who I've read some of their books, but not all of their books. Can you move yourself again, please? Thank you. First, we have Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I had never heard of Taylor Jenkins Reid before I got on BookTube and TikTok and all of that back in like September, October-ish. The one that I read is What True Loves. I love this book. I rated it 5 stars. I read this back in December. Loved it. It is about a woman who got married. Her husband went on their 1-year anniversary. He went on an assignment for his job and never to be seen again. Fast forward, she is engaged now to a different man. She's happy. She's looking forward to this wedding, looking forward to be part of the family. Gets a phone call. It's her supposedly dead husband on the phone. Like, come again? And honestly, like, I didn't know who she was going to pick until the very end. Like, it was so good. Taylor Jenkins Reid is brilliant. She knows how to write good stories. And I loved this book. Now I have 2 more on the shelf. 2 of her older ones, After I Do and Forever Interrupted, I think. And then I have 2 of her newer ones. I have these 2, Daisy Jones and Evelyn Hugo. And I'm excited to read these 2. I've heard great things about both of these. I want to read them soon. So those are 2 more that TikTok told me to buy, and I have not read them yet. Are you just gonna sit right in front of my face? Like, I feel like I'm leaning over. Okay, so you're gonna move. Thank you. Then we have Miss Lynn Painter. And I have read all 3 of the books that I'm about to show you, right? It's like a miracle. So first, I read Better Than the Movies, which is a young adult teen romance. This was the first young adult book I've read in a while, and I forgot how much I love young adult. Like, no expectations, just we're going into it. It's a cutesy little high school romance, like a very little drama. No adult drama. It was great. So I loved this book. This was also a 5-star read. Then I read Mr. Wrong Number back in January. This is one of her adult novels, but this was still, like, this was so good. I loved this book. This was my top pick for January. I still think about these characters. I love them. I know there is not a sequel, but one of the, interconnected, standalone, however we call them these days, coming out about the main character's brother, who we do meet in this book. And I'm so excited to read that. I think that comes out later this year. I hope it comes out later this year. I really want to read it. I loved this book so much. And then I read The Do-Over, which is also a young adult romance novel. This one is set on Valentine's Day. It's like a Groundhog's Day situation going on where she keeps repeating the day over and over and over again. This one I didn't like as much as Better Than the Movies and Mr. Wrong Number, but it was still a solid 3-star read for me. It checked all the boxes. Again, just like Taylor Jenkins Reid, I had no idea that this person even existed until I went on TikTok and saw her all over the place. And that, my friends, is Miss Lucy Score. Now, this is the book that you've probably seen all over, Things We Never Got Over. And the sequel to this book, Things We Hide from the Light, just came out like last week. And yes, we're back to that, whole situation, I guess, where I buy the first book, I don't read it, but I buy the second book. So I have both of them. Then there's a third one coming out in September that, of course, I will buy. But no, my goal is to read number 1 and number 2 before September, before the third one comes out, because I want to tell you that I read the books before I bought the sequel. That is my goal. Sound good? You gotta hold me to that, or else I'm just gonna buy them. Okay? Now, this one I have not read, but I did read 2 other Lucy Score books. I read By a Thread, which I loved, and I read Forever Never, which I have right here, and I loved this book so much. This was amazing. I loved it. It was spicy. It was smutty. It was grumpy, sunshine, childhood, friends to enemies to lovers, dual perspective, then now timeline. Like everything I want in a book was in this book. I loved it. 5 stars. Read this book. If there's one book that you read this year, it needs to be this book. Now, I know it's thick. I know it's intimidating, but it is seriously, it's so good. Like, it's so good. I love it. And I fell in love with Lucy Score. I actually have, Things We Never Got Over, Things We Had from the Light By a Thread, this one, and I have Rock Bottom Girl, which I'm excited to read. That's fake dating and teachers. And then I have Maggie Moves On, which I have no idea what it's about, but it said Lucy Score on it, so I bought it. But there's one more, the TikTok, and I read this one. This was my thriller last month, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This one, again, top-notch thriller. The one thing I did not like, the big twist at the end. It didn't sit right with me. But other than that, 5-star read. It was 4.5 stars for me because I didn't like that. But this was good. I flew through this. So glad I picked this one up. This was another one that everybody who said, read this thriller, I said, well, if I'm going to read thrillers, might as well pick this one up because this was all over the place. I'm so happy I read it. And I want to read. Then I have 2 books that, yes, are all over TikTok, but I read them before I got on TikTok. So it kind of counts, right? It kind of counts. TikTok didn't make me buy them, but it still kind of counts. So the first one is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And I feel like this one gets a bad rap. People love beach read. People like book lovers. I have both of them. I've read both of them. I love both of them. But this one, I don't know. It's good. I loved this one. At first, I loved this one even more than beach read. And that's unheard of all over the internet. But I do. See, now I'm thinking about it, I might like beach read better. I don't know. I love them both. But this one is about Poppy and Alex. And Poppy is a travel journalist. And she gets to travel the world and go on little vacations and write about them. And for the longest time, she brings Alex, which is her best friend, along with her. It's a then now timeline. They go on little vacations together. I've always loved the little road trip vacation type trope. So I love this. They experience new things together. Then there's one trip that is not a good trip, and then Poppy and Alex don't talk for a while. The then is the different trips leading up to the now, when the now is the trip that brings them closer together. We'll put it that way. But I love this book. I reread it every summer. It just gives me those summery vibes of going on a trip, meeting new people, having all that summer fun romance. And then the last book that I'm going to talk about today in this video is a book that I absolutely adore. If you haven't guessed it by now, it's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. And I love this book so much. Again, this is one of those books that I reread every year because I love it. It makes me happy. It's my comfort book. It is about Macy and Elliot. And it's, again, like all the things I love in books. Childhood best friends to lovers. Or childhood friends to enemies to lovers, really. It's just one perspective. It is about Macy, who, when she was younger, her mom passes away and her dad buys a little cottage out, you know, in the woods. And then her neighbor is Elliot. And they kind of grow up together. They build a library in her closet, like dream closet, right? Like, I want that. And then as they grow up, they get closer and closer until one day there's a falling out. And then I think it's 12 years later, they kind of reconnect again. And we're trying to figure out, you know, what was that falling out? How are they reacquainting themselves? I love this book. Again, this is one of those books, just like forever and ever. If you have not read this book, you need to read it. It is so dang good. I love it. So, read it. Those are all of the books that TikTok, actually, those are most of the books that TikTok and BookTok and YouTube and BookTube and all those wonderful people out there who are also creating book-themed videos and things have made me buy. And again, I've read a few of them. I'm reading a few of them. I will read most of them. So if you stay tuned to this channel, you will know exactly when I read those books. And when I buy more books. But that's for another day. We're not buying books today, so it's fine. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope that you keep on reading because I know I am. Thank you for watching. Nessie Reads.